Hello there, everybody, and welcome along then to the Mercedes AMG Motorsport eRacing competition here on this Sunday afternoon, morning, or wherever you're tuning in from, both across YouTube and Facebook Live. My name is James Kirk, and alongside me, the ever-present of this series, Mr. Robert Wiesemuller joins me. And Rob, we have a great schedule coming up today with plenty of action for any viewer who decides that this is a good broadcast to tune into.
Yeah, hello as well. And we've got an exciting race coming up here in the Mercedes AMG eRacing competition. This is the schedule we have today. So the 17 best online drivers on Race from Racing experience on the Racing Simulation for PC. They are challenging Daniel Juncadella today in a 10-minute qualifying session, and then afterwards in a 20-minute race. Just one race, just 20 minutes, no pit stops, just pure action coming up.
And Juncadella, of course, a master of many open wheel categories. This man is not to be trifled with, and it must be said, actually, the sim races across the now 4-5 rounds that we've been racing this series, the real race has been, put up with a great match from our virtual racing guys, but Juncadella certainly putting in a better performance than last time which we saw him, and hopefully he might be in with a chance of points. We will wait and see. Let's take a little look at our calendar, by the way. As I've mentioned, we're now on round 5 of 9 of this championship here at Moscow Raceway. We're using pretty much the full circuit minus a chicane at the top of the circuit, which instead gives us a nice bump into a braking zone, which is a fascinating challenge. But coming up there, you see we've got Zandvoort, Nürburgring, Spielberg, and the Hockenheimring for the second time, all still to come. It's a fantastic calendar. We're halfway through, but let's talk a little bit more about this particular round, Rob. The Moscow Raceway, as I've aforementioned, we're using a slightly shorter version than the full version. And that braking zone in particular, which I mentioned, up at what is now turn 7, it's such a difficult area. It's a bit like Slovakia Ring's bump, except you're trying to do another action apart from going on the throttle.
Yeah, let's see. Daniel Juncadella is coming up to this section now, and there you can see this hill there. And the car gets a little bit airborne when it goes over the hill, and then you immediately have to brake, and it gets over the grass a little bit there. And this is one of the trickiest corners on the track, and it must be said that this track is very difficult. It's very technical, and some of the drivers have been complaining a bit that it's hard on the tires. It's very hard to keep the car stable. You have to put a lot of effort in to find a stable setup, but yeah, nonetheless, I think we will see a really exciting race here.
It's all part of the challenge, isn't it? And as we have just over 1 minute of practice remaining, let us have a little look at the standings after round 4. So you'll notice up there, leading by 16 points, which when you consider the other points gaps, that's a pretty hefty margin to be leading by. Jack Keithley there, he has won 4 out of the 5 races. The only other person who has won a race this season, Tin Heinemann, all the way down in P6. We also have a number of our top drivers not here today, the likes of Moritz Lohner, also Kevin Siggy, Rebenak. I know, for example, he's doing a real-life hill climb somewhere else. So a number of our drivers here, I think Kunzer's not here today as well, so there is a real chance for a number of other drivers to potentially elevate themselves further up the championship. A reminder from the last 4 rounds that it is the top 6 drivers here that qualify for our final event. So you can actually see there Heinemann and Haas are actually both on 28 points. It is close stuff. Madsen and Honzik, 2 other names that you'll see in and amongst the top 10 there, down in P8 and P9. They're currently looking very good for advancing their championship cause. Madsen topping our practice session, and Honzik himself down in P5. So certainly for those 2, they are looking to take full advantage and get as many points on that board as possible.
Yeah, and of course what we have to remember as well is that there's 1 drop score in the round, because sometimes it can happen that the drivers have to miss a race here. This is it's getting close to a professional series, but of course these drivers here, they have to do something else for their living as well. So sometimes you're forced that you cannot attend the race, and so we added 1 drop score for the championship. So even though Kunze, Löhner and Siggy are missing today, it's not so bad for the championship host, because they will surely be back next time and they won't actually lose so many points. But this guy here, Jack Keithley, he's been looking strong, and he's been looking almost invincible in the last couple of rounds.
I think the one major slip-up I can remember was at the Lauritz ring, where he came into contact with Siggy, and I think he just about got away with that one, didn't he, despite receiving a penalty. So,
yeah.
You know, you can't really fault him. Otherwise, every other performance, barring really the first race, which he didn't win, was, and as I say, Lauritz ring, of course, was absolutely impervious, and really that form has rewarded him with such a 16-point gap. He's a very good contender for pole position here once again, and if he gets, you'd say, within even the top couple of rows, he's a threat for victory every single time.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it was also really good to see his response after getting a penalty in the second round, because some people, they get angry and they blame the stewards, and what he did was just he improved his driving for the next round, and he's been absolutely flawless. And it will be interesting to see if he can take the win here. He was not the fastest guy in the practice session just before this event. That was actually Nick Madsen, the Danish driver, who's been looking stronger and stronger.
And he's actually first out on track as well, as it happens. He's got that purple first sector. And the fact that it is still purple, Rob, I'd suggest is actually a pretty good omen. It suggests that no one has been able to beat it as of yet, as we head through a difficult bump into Sector 2, now heading round into Turn 8. 9, and later on here, Turn 10, as we've already mentioned a couple of times. This track is really hard on tyres, and so it may be beneficial to some with a particular driving style just to lay off a bit in the early part of the lap to then really hammer home this middle section. A bit of a chance for the tyres to cool off now though. A long back straight here as we head down to Turn 13. The purple sector kind of expected here from Madsen, as he is the first car out on track. You see the pit lane entry window disappearing there as we come into the tight left-hander. That is Turn 13, and Madsen's going to stay to the right, probably going to do another lap, I'd imagine. He posts an initial time of a 1:28.1, and that is pretty solid, as everyone else coming in behind him is indeed coming in behind him, minus Jack Keithley and Tim Heinemann, who have just gone 0.2 and then 0.3 respectively faster than the Dane.
Yeah, and these are the two favorites today, I would say. Heinemann as well. He's kind of in the same boat as Keithley, that he has been penalized this season. And now we're waiting for his response. We're waiting if he can do the same thing and just drive super clean and get the win here. Because it's been a while since he's won. He's won the first race, and afterwards he's been a bit in trouble in this championship. And of course he won the Mercedes AMG eRacing last year when there was only one round, so he's very experienced in these cars here. And yeah, it shows in qualifying. Abandons his lap here, but still, pole position, provisional pole position for Tim Heinemann.
Should be actually reminded to everyone. Thank you very much to Race Room, the simulator which is providing us with all this action. The simulated racing a little bit different to your regular racing. We try to make it as realistic as possible so you guys can enjoy it as much as you enjoy your real racing. But of course, one of the caveats here is that you are allowed to just escape out of a lap. And for some people that is super useful, because it means that you don't waste extra time out on the circuit, and arguably, Rob, it actually contributes towards truly finding that fastest driver. If a person knows by Sector 1, oh yeah, this is going to be a terrible lap, they can go out and potentially still be in the fight for a top 10, as Jack Keithley there, he's continued on with his lap, and he's continued to go on to pole position, only by 0.02 of a second though. The margins between Keithley and Heinemann are so close, as around the corner now comes Daniel Schun. He actually finished P3 in the practice session. Really impressive effort from the German, and he's put himself up into P7. So unfortunately, his second and third sectors not as good as that purple first.
Oh, Honzik here moving up into fourth position. Another guy who's getting stronger and stronger as the season progresses. But yeah, Keithley versus Heinemann. It was kind of shaping up to be the battle here, and they are a lot ahead of all the other drivers at the moment. Over 0.3 the gap between Keithley and Madsen.
Yeah, and Honzik joining Madsen there. Morales currently rounding out the top 5. Our star driver, Daniel Hungadella, down in P15. Even then, Rob, only a second off the pace. It's actually, in the larger context of things, only a second really separating 15 drivers. That's pretty good, especially around the 1 minute 30.
Here on the grass, and I don't think he can hold this car here on the track.
No.
Just stops and he will go out for his final attempt. Yeah, if you in this qualifying session, if the timer runs out, the qualifying is over, so you cannot finish the lap that you started. So Hunkadea has to hurry up now if he wants to improve. And yeah, he finished in 11th place at the Lausitzring when he already drove in the series here. So he's very capable on the simulator as well, just like he is in real life. Certainly been the fastest of the VIP drivers that we had in the season. We also had Maximilian Götz and Pascal Wehrlein, who both showed a lot of promise, but then throughout the race they always ran into a little bit of trouble. And Hunkadea, he did a really clean race at the Lausitzring, and hopefully we can see the same from him again.
I think one of those questions has been, you know, oh, how seriously do the drivers take it? And I think Daniel certainly, I've already mentioned, this is his second time here, so he must clearly enjoy coming back at least, you know, to do another round or so. Hopefully we'll see him do well. I'd love to see one of our star drivers get some points, as Nick Madsen is looking to be the star himself here. Another purple first sector for the Dane. He's really wanting to get in the mix with Keithley and Hyman here, upset the apple cart, so to speak. And a lovely swinging dynamic camera shows Nick heading onto the back straight. He'll hit the sector 2 timing beam very soon. It is a green sector, and it is an improvement on what is before, but it's still not looking to challenge Keithley and Hyman. He's going to have an almighty final corner here if he's going to even try and move ahead of his current P3 position. I don't think it is. No, in fact, it's not an improvement for his final sector. It's an improving time overall, and he gets within 0.2 of the top 2.
Oh, and Keithley is on another purple sector, this time purple middle sector. And Heinemann has taken pole position, so Keithley really has to nail this final sector if he wants the pole position.
Only by 0.002 there, Hyman from Keithley, and Keithley's just posted 2 purples. That is a blistering lap, and oh my word, a 10th ahead of Hyman this time. It wasn't even an improvement in the final sector, but Keithley has done it for now. 1 minute 45 remaining. Pretty much everyone's last lap at this point, and Hyman's already posted a green sector 1.
Oh, and
he's
abandoned his lap. So
done.
that's it for Heinemann. No pole position for Heinemann. Let's see who's still on the lap. Florian Hasse only in 9th position. Let's see where he can move. Honzig moves up to 3rd. Hasse moves up to 5th.
Good laps there from the 2 moving up into the top 5. I imagine Madsen will want to try and get some sort of response in before the end of the session. We've got the rest of the top 10 rounded out by Ivanov, Morella, Schun, Williams and Stanger down there at P10. Daniel Hunkadea with a green sector 1. We'll see where our Spaniard can move up. And it's a green sector 2 as well.
That's looking like a great lap. But I think he's running with a little bit more wing than Keithley and Heinemann. So let's see. He might lose a bit of time in the final sector here. Looks
that could
clean,
be good
though.
in the race actually as well. If he's got extra wing, could be good for running in dirty air. Where does Hunkadea move up to? Up to P11. Surely that'll be the best qualifying effort of any star driver if he can hold it. Dorneyden up to P12. He's P10 in the championship currently, so he's not going to be up there in the points where he wants to get a couple more at least. 25 seconds remaining. Is there anyone else on track? Nib Madsen's done. He wasn't able to improve from P4. Dalmau's a little bit too far back in the circuit. I think we might be able to call it now, Rob. I think Keithley has just secured pole position.
Yeah, certainly looks like it. So Jack Keithley once again. Fantastic effort. The car from Dalmau looks a little bit beat up, has to be said.
It's got a bit of a droopy eye, sadly. But he doesn't have to worry. It's free repairs as we switch over from qualifying to the race. There's no real wait between qualifying and race. No warm-up session whatsoever. It's straight into affairs. And any Keithley versus Hyman battle is one to look forward to, Rob. It's always so close, so tight. But throw in Honzik and Madsen. who are looking pretty good on pace. It's sure to be an exciting duel, and I hope to see those two getting involved in the lead fight, certainly.
Yeah, and especially Madsen. He's just been so been getting better and better round by round, and now on the 3rd position on the grid. Certainly looks like he could maybe challenge even for a win if Heinemann and Keithley tangle a little bit in the races. And I think this could be a tense battle. I don't think there's so much sympathy between Keithley and Heinemann. So yeah, it remains to be seen. So 20-minute race, all cars are on the grid. Heinemann in the pink car, Keithley in the silver car. Lights are on.
And we are racing here at Moscow Raceway. It's a fantastic start there. Look at that from Keithley. On the left, he's already heading straight on into the lead in turn 1. And a bit of bashing there in the midfield. Someone going off wide. I think that was potentially Hasse there. As we move round into the early couple of sectors, there's a couple of straights here to get the DRS zone activated, to maybe add a little bit of natural slipstreaming in there as well. And it looks like Junkadea has not had a great start either, but Keithley and Hyman, oh, look at that, Hyman around the outside, he's had a fantastic sector 1. Is he going to go all the way around the outside? Yes, he is. What a fantastic opening move from Hyman after such a great start from Keithley. Hyman bites back instantly as we head over into the bump of turn 7. And oh, Hyman didn't take that one too well, did he? Keithley right on his rear bumper. Honzik, Madsen and Ivanov all looking around. And actually worth noting, Ivanov at his home race, of course, the Russian. A little bit of extra pride on the line as we head through sector 2 now, through turn 10, and now through the slow, by comparison, turn 11 and turn 12 onto the back straight. I can see many overtakes. What am I doing already? There's going to be a lot of overtakes, I imagine, a lot of defending. Look at Hyman already going ultra defensive, and everyone in a long snake behind, trying to get as much slipstream as possible. No DRS though in this initial lap. So I think Hyman is probably safer now. And always an early move there from Madsen on Honzik. Not going to work this time around. But on lap 1 then, despite his great start, it is Keithley second from Hyman in first. Honzik, Madsen, Hasse, Ivanov, Schun, Williams, Morales and Stanger.
And look at Junkadea, he smells points here. Just was looking against Stange. Now on the outside, that's Shaposhnik, who's trying to make a move. But Junkadea stays in the 11th position for now. He's pushing hard over the grass as well.
A swarm of bees behind him. It's always exciting when you're able to drive against a top talent, but when the top talent's in with a shot of points as well, it's almost like a concerted effort from the rest of the field. Well, we've got to show him, we've got to make sure he doesn't score points. But I'm thinking Daniel Montbion for a good shout here, looking at Matthew Williams here in P8. It is still very, very tight in this midfield, and Hasse there, actually, I should note, getting past Ivanov at the final corner of the last lap as we head on to 17.5 minutes to go. Matthew Williams with a couple of strong results previously this season. A consistent point scorer, 5th in the championship, right on the back of Daniel Schun, Ivanov and Hasse there. And oh, goodness me, almost pushing Schun around turn 12. Once again, the slipstream coming into effect. This time around, though, with DRS, he closes. But I don't think it's close enough. You can see, actually, that's a great shot from the cameras. Madsen dives through on Honzik. A bit of contact there, but the top 4, Rob, notably pulling away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, and the fight for third is on. Honzik in 3rd position. This is the first time in the season that he's on a podium position, and he has to defend really hard against Nick Madsen now, against the Danish driver. And it looks a bit like Keithley and Heinemann are starting to get the field.
They've almost got tier 1, tier 2, and then everybody else at this stage. Hyman and Keithley are pretty happy to head off into their own battle. But one thing that Honzik and Madsen have to be careful of, Rob, surely, is that if they do battle too hard, if things do get a little bit out of hand, then they aren't that far away from the rest of the field. They cannot let any contact hinder their process.
Yeah, and Florian Hasse has proven last time at the Nordesring that he's... Oh, change for 3rd position.
Oh yeah, Madsen's through. I think, yeah, Honzik must surely have messed up turn 7 there. We've already said how a tricky braking zone that is, and Madsen paying the full dues to his Czech rival there and stealing the stealing the podium off of Honzik suddenly. We weren't expecting it, and already we can see actually Florian Hasse there as well, getting into the mix as well. Nick Madsen with DRS. Not great for Honzik. He was behind when the zone was picked up, and so able to pull away is Madsen, and P3 is his for the moment.
Yeah, and this is exactly how you have to use the DRS as well. You have to go to the front of the field, by the way. Kiki is looking very menacing. So you make the pass, and then you still have a DRS, so you can get the driver on the straight, and he has no way of defending. We have to look back at Daniel Concadea for a moment, because he is in the points now.
With everyone behind him, mind you, he's it is a tight battle down there for P10. Mind you, lucky for Daniel Concadea is that there is plenty of drivers up ahead as well, so there's potential for more than just P10 here. I'd love to see it happen. As much as the sim racers amongst him are not going to be so happy, but you know what? Go forth, Daniel. I hope to see you get a couple more points on the table. Morales and Williams just up the road, as I think it's probably worth having a little look further up in the midfield battle here. All up with Keithley and Heinemann. It seems like we've seen this before, Rob, where they have been super close, but there's been no real attempts at an overtake. As Shaposhnik there getting a little bit squealy on the exit of 10, losing a couple of places down to P13, just behind Dorneden, just in front of Bonky. And always had a move there from Keithley up. Oh, is there someone around there? And that's Dalmau. And unfortunately, his Mercedes has been in the walls in qualifying. He's been in the walls once again in the race. And sadly, Dalmau back down to the back of the field as Keithley. He was looking close in the DRS zone. Didn't come off for him this time around. As Daniel Hookadea still holding on to P10. And actually, behind him, he's got a bit of a reprieve. Everyone going at it for now. P11 is giving him a bit of breathing room, Rob, just to put his foot down, put his head down, and try and get some good clean laps in without battling.
Yeah, and if Dorneden and Stange in the background, slide by Jan Stange there, if they start fighting, of course, this will help Roncadea to secure his point, because now he can drive at his own pace, he can set the lap times, and he can try to move forward here on the grid. Poshnik once again side by side, this time with Bunky. Poshnik in the white car, and Bunky's looking.
Well, I don't know whether we can call that forcing off track. Shaposhnik's still trying to... Oh, no, don't want to do that. Goodness me, how on earth he didn't go careering into Banki, I have no idea. That was full commitment from the Slovakian, though. Goodness me, through that braking zone, mental.
No, he just drove over these cones. They just start flying everywhere. He still tries to make the pass, and then Shaposhnik super wide on the exit. Banki didn't leave him really any room. A bit of contact here between Shaposhnik and Westerhof.
Yeah, I can understand why Shaposhnik would be a little bit ruffled by that. I can understand why he'd be a little bit aggrieved by that, but at the end of the day, there's not much that you can do in the race. As Westerhof trying to scare Shaposhnik into a mistake. Didn't work this time around for the Dutch driver. But yeah, Shaposhnik just, he much like Junkade, needs to get his head down and just get some clean laps in now. Shaposhnik needs to get his head back down and start attacking once again, because there's still over half the race to go. There's still plenty of time to put in moves, and I think that's something that Jack Keithley here will have in mind. Yes, he's been behind for the majority of the race, barring those early couple of corners, but there's plenty of corners, plenty of opportunities to overtake. Maybe just biding his time, maybe saving the tyres a bit for a last 5-minute barrage on his German rival here.
Yeah, and we noticed in the previous races that Keithley's car always looks very smooth on the exits, while Heinemann, he's driving with a lot more oversteer. And so in terms of tire wear, could be in the favor of Jack Keithley. And when you add the DRS and when you add that he can slipstream a bit, so he doesn't have to go full attack the whole time, whereas Heinemann has to. Certainly seems like there will be an opportunity for Keithley as he's looking.
Heinemann just putting his car pretty central in the middle of the road, and what that does is a twofold effect. Not only does he defend the line pretty adequately, but he has a decent exit as well. There's not really much opportunity for a cutback for Keithley, and that's really smart defending from Hyman. If that's the only real place where Keithley's got any sort of overlap, any sort of chance to overtake, then you say that Tim's actually tackling that situation pretty well, but he's got to be careful. We can only imagine that Keithley's holding back somewhat as Matthew Williams there going around the outside completely of Daniel Shun for turn 2 and 3. That's a great move, very Hyman-esque from the opening lap, but wow, it's certainly dynamic a second time you see it, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're seeing some great racing here today. Matthew Williams sliding around the outside and making his way up now in 7th position. He's been high up in the series before, so I think I'm not sure if he scored a podium, but he was definitely in 4th place in one race.
I think he had a podium the last time I commentated on him, or actually no, you might have been right, it might be the 4th. Either way, he's been up there, Matthew Williams, and I think the P5 that he holds currently in the standings is indicative of that. And already they're right onto the back of Ivanov after such great early promise. Seems to be slipping up a little bit now.
You see Keithley there in the front, looking once again, but Heinemann, he keeps doing the same thing, just positions his car in the middle of the road, and this doesn't allow Keithley to get a real cutback, but now Keithley is really close.
He'll have to go for a dive, if anything, and I don't think he's willing to risk it at this point. And actually, that is worth saying as we just cross over the half point, Rob. Is it worth risking him, or is it worth risking his car, Keithley, for a last-minute win when he's got such a significant gap over P2, let alone Hyman?
It's also that because Keithley already picked up a few penalties in round 2, he cannot allow for so many mistakes. So if he takes out Heinemann for the fight of for the championship, he's actually in risk of getting a race ban. So I think he will be a little bit more careful here in this battle. And I think he can settle for 2nd place. Kunze is not here tonight. Heinemann is quite a far way back in the standings. So I think if he finishes 2nd for him, it would be good. But you can see in the background Nick Madsen there, the black and silver car, the silver file livery, closing up. And not only him.
No, indeed. I wasn't really looking at the gap between 2nd and 3rd. I was thinking, oh, you know, Madsen seems to have P3 locked down, but what these three have done now is they've stopped battling and they are focusing on just perhaps working together a little bit, and it's providing dividends. I'm trying to get an accurate read of that time from the small screen which I have, but I'd say that's what, 1.8, 1.9 seconds they are behind Keithley at this point? Or behind the leader, I should say, even.
Yeah.
So,
oh, Hunkadea just dropped out of the points. And just back into the points.
Just back in.
Oh, Stange in the middle, Dorniden on the inside.
I think Dorniden might have the best chance here of going through, and indeed he is. All bit of contact, all but the cutback from Hunkadea. They all go off track apart from Stange, and ultimately it's Stange the one who loses out the most. Oh my word, Dorniden hanging it out 10 on the exit of turn 2 there. Hunkadea staying in the points within an inch of the points, it should be said even. He is being hounded by Dorniden, Stange and Bunky all in close pursuit. That P10 is certainly achievable, but he has got a big fight on his hands to keep it.
Yeah, and he's showing no respect to the sim racers. He's showing he's on the same level, and if they attack him, he fights right back.
Mind you, talking of fighting, look at this piece. What's it? Yeah, it's the Ivanov train. And we were talking about him falling off the back. He is causing a bit of a traffic jam here. Williams, Shun, and Morales, all within 2 seconds of the Russian. The only advantage that he has is that he seems to have a decent exit. Is Keithley. A lot more of an overlap this time on Heinemann, and a lot more of a cutback this time on Heinemann. Look at that. DRS in effect. This might be it. We're approaching 6.5 minutes, and Heinemann looking to sweep around the outside. He goes off track to defend the position. Slightly controversial, potentially. Keithley might have something to complain about there.
Yeah, I mean, Keithley didn't fully commit for the move, and I think that was the right thing, because Heinemann was taking the corner, and then Heinemann, of course, is trying to leave him room as well, and he goes off the track. I mean, this is probably one of the things that will cause a bit of debate, but either way, Heinemann keeps the lead right now, and I think Keithley didn't really want to go for the move in this corner anyway.
In the midfield, by the way, Shun has re-overtaken Williams, but I'm much more interested in that gap between Madsen and the lead. Down to 1.3, 1.4 seconds now. The Dane, the Czech, and the German in 3rd, 4th, and 5th respectively, really starting to close down the leaders. And I was pretty dead sure in the opening couple of laps.
Oh, Hunkadea.
Hunkadea, he might have had a spin. Down to P13, I think he might have, yeah. Oh dear, that's a shame for our Spaniard star. He's not too far away from the point still, but sadly he's got a bit of work now to do before he recaptures that point.
And somehow Williams has dropped back as well, because Williams has been overtaken by Dorniden, so it might have been contact between these two.
Williams might have had a problem and Hunkadea might have run into him, potentially.
Oh, Keithley
going for the lead. He's done it already. He's done it on the cutback. We completely missed it, but Jack Keithley is back through. Fantastic work there. He's made that move stick. But like I was saying, Madsen now only 1 second off the lead. They're going to be within DRS zone. And I thought this was going to be a straight up fight between Keithley and Hyman for the lead. I genuinely think that Madsen, Honzik and Haase are all in with a shout for this win as well. They're so close already. It's like they've been keeping their tyres better.
And look how Heinemann's car is moving. Look how the tyres are shot, certainly. Because he's sliding everywhere and he can't really stay with Keithley at the moment.
Fantastic action here at Moscow Raceway. An extra twist.
Oh, Heinemann! Sideways!
He's really struggling, Heinemann. Look at it, there's no traction. Look at that. Madsen almost pushing Heinemann around the corner. He's desperately trying to stay on to P2, and this is giving Keithley a massive advantage here. You'd say that if Heinemann can't get a decent exit here, surely the position is there for Madsen to take.
Oh, and does Heinemann have DRS now, or did Keithley pass him? No, he does have DRS. So Keithley passed him before the line, and this saves Heinemann here for one more lap at least.
We've only got, what, 2 more laps of racing action left, you'd say. There's movement behind Madsen, though. He's got to be careful. Honzik and Haase still pretty hungry for a podium. As, oh my word, the twitch coming out from Tim Heinemann. Good save. But there is no grip left in that Mercedes whatsoever. Going off track once again, as does everyone behind him, mind you. It's just sort of like the nature of the slipstream there. But, oh dearie me, if Madsen has ever had an incentive this race to try and overtake someone, this is it. You love to see a driver in front of you really struggling. You think, oh, maybe I could go for a little move, although Madsen there sliding around as well. Maybe tyres starting to go. He can't get too complacent.
Oh, Marius is dropping back meanwhile.
Yeah, Danny
Oh, and there's someone else. Dorniden is off as well. So there might have been contact between Dorniden and Marius.
It seems like there's... Oh, goodness me. It seems like Dorniden maybe just lighting up the tyres. We should go back to the front, though, Rob. As much as I'd love to see those back battles, I think the battle for the win at this stage is worth sticking to. Tim Heinemann still holding on to P2, try as he might. And look at Madsen there. Oh, that's a much better exit, I'd say. Oh, maybe not, though. Maybe not. Took that corner a little bit slower than he would have wanted. And Heinemann still within DRS range, still just clutching on to the last remainder of a second that he's got to Keithley. And Madsen, because of that, unable to close as much as he would. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left. 2 laps remaining.
Yeah, and Heinemann, look how close he is to Keithley once again. I thought Keithley is gonna gap him for sure, but there's Keithley, there's Heinemann.
It seems like Heinemann and Madsen are really starting to drop Honzik and Haase as well. Oh, look at that through the middle! Oh, and it almost a mistake.
Oh, no!
Oh, dearie me, and that was just... I don't know whether to call that a racing incident, the nature of the corner, or Heinemann not looking up the inside, or maybe Madsen just being a little bit too over-optimistic there, trying to surprise Heinemann up the inside. Didn't work. Heinemann turned in, tapped Madsen round, not terminally in regards to, you know, a lot of positions lost, but that's a lot of points lost, certainly dropping from P3 down to P5.
And that just shows how easy it is to lose it all here in the race. As Madsen was looking for his first second place of the series, and now he's off the podium. I mean, it might not be completely over, because he could potentially fight back against Hasse and Honzig, but he's running out of time now.
Yeah, it was an opportunistic move, I'll say that much. So maybe one for Stuart to decide afterwards. As here comes now our current incumbent of the podium, Honzig, under pressure from Florian Hasse. It's P7 versus P9 in the championship. Great points for these two if possible. Oh, a bit of a slide there from Honzig though. Hasse senses an opportunity. He goes to the inside here in turn 1. We've seen people go around the outside to hold on to the position. Honzig tries to hold on the inside after the cutback, and he does so. That's smart driving from the Czech, though. Madsen now in close pursuit as well. Look how close these guys are for the podium position. Madsen trying to do a similar move that he attempted on Hyman, and once again getting into contact with the car ahead. Hasse just holding on for P4.
Yeah, and that was perfect driving from Honzig. Just waited for the cutback, waited for Hasse to go off track, because if you take the narrow line there on the inside, it can happen easily. And now Honzig probably has secured the position because the time is up. We are on the final lap now. Not over for Madsen yet, though. He wants the 4th place at least.
You would say it's pretty secure for the top 2, isn't it? Madsen on a charge, though. He feels pretty aggrieved, I'd imagine. He feels like that podium should be rightfully his, if not P2. I don't see many more opportunities for him to even overtake Hasse, though. We've only really got the final DRS zone here. And oh, that's a poor exit there from Hasse. He might be able to nick P4 here, Madsen. He'll have DRS himself to defend Hasse, but Madsen with the slipstream, with the overlay. Hasse going ultra defensive. Madsen going to the middle of the track. Honzig ahead. Surely the podium is his, as across the line comes Jack Keithley. Wins his 5th consecutive race here in the Mercedes AMG Motorsport eRacing competition. Hyman comes home 2nd, with Honzig holding on to 3rd. It's Hasse and Madsen rounding out the top 5, with Ivanov at his home round.
What is that?
A complete melee of drivers coming across the line. It's a Shun there, 7th, Williams 8th, Stanger 9th, and Ben Spanky rounding out the top 10. Morales 11th after being in the top 10 for so long. Hunkadeyev was, it seemed almost assured at one point that he'd finally be on for a point, for a star driver to get a point. It wasn't to be. He finishes P12. Dornington there, the only retirement from this race. But what can you say about Jack Keithley? He had a real fight on his hands with Hyman, who took the lead early on. But he fought back well. He got the fastest lap of the race. And an impervious victory in many regards, although different regards perhaps to what he's used to. He's used to just streaming ahead. This time he was just great at battling, great at racing.
Yeah, this time he really had to fight for it. And Tim Heinemann as well, with this move on the first lap, he showed he's here to win as well, and he had no respect for Keithley, no respect for the winner of the previous races. Heinemann hasn't given up. He wants his crown back in the Mercedes AMG eRacing competition.
Shout out to Honzig though as well. He definitely capitalized on that mistake/racing incident from between Madsen and Heinemann. Jumped onto the podium, and he takes his first one in the series. I think it's well deserved for Honzig. He's looked pretty good and pretty pacey here today.
Yeah, nice race from him. Nice battle as well between him, Florian Hasse, and Nick Madsen. Because, I mean, I think this whole race was really fantastic in terms of the battling. We saw a couple of bits of contact a bit further back in the field, and then we saw the one scene between Heinemann and Nick Madsen. But apart from that, I thought we saw some really great racing action here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm just wondering, are we going to take a little break before interviews, Rob, or are we going to head straight into them? Yeah.
We will be back in a few seconds. Hello.
Hello.
So, we are back with the Mercedes AMG Motorsport eRacing competition here. And we're ready for the interviews. And I think you might have heard him already, Jack Keithley. He's already arrived, the winner of the race. So congratulations, Jack Keithley, what a race.
Thank you very much. God, that, like every race, that was a workout.
So in qualifying, once again, you take the pole position, but it was a good battle between you and Tim with a lot of changes for the pole position.
Yeah, it was quite a lap. I was pretty pleased with it. Personal best, so really pleased with that.
And then at the start of the race, you briefly lost the lead to Tim Heinemann. Can you talk us through what happened there when you made the overtake?
Yeah, if I'm honest, I'm not entirely surprised. It was fairly robust, I think you'd probably agree. But I figured when I was behind him, I would just bide my time with him, to be honest.
Yeah, and then you waited for quite a long time, but then in the end, looked like you had a better tire wear, and the car was looking really stable.
Well, also knowing how Tim can race, when I was behind him, I realised that half of them laps, I probably could have gone the inside through DRS, but I saw for a while we were pulling away from them behind, and I didn't want to push it too early because otherwise we would end up being battling third, fourth, and fifth. So I was just taking my time with him, to be honest.
All right, well, congratulations once again, Jack Keithley. Amazing race from you, leading the championship, of course.
Thank you very much.
And I think James has Jaroslav Honzik, the third place finisher.
So, Yaroslav, welcome to interviews for the first time, of course. What a great battle for the podium there. It seemed to be a pretty close-cut affair between yourself and Haase, but nearer the end as well, it was almost like you had Keithley and Hyman in your sights for any three of you to potentially take the race win.
Well, hello guys, thank you. Yeah, I think the top 5 guys were really quick, and I think for the team and Jack, it really worked out for us because they were fighting for the lead, and we could like close the gap a little bit and be in the DRS, and I could like keep my pace behind the Nick because he was a little faster, but I could hold him as close as I could, thanks to the DRS, because my setup I don't think was a little better. And in the end, yes, I think I was really lucky because Nick did a little mistake and I could overtake him. And yeah, I just did everything I could to just hold him behind us.
You had a real first-hand view as well of the incident ahead, which effectively gifted you the podium. Did you have any particular views on that between Madsen and Hyman? Did you see it more as a racing incident, or did that sort of just go completely over the top of your head as you thought, now, oh wait, I'm on the podium?
Yeah, I got just the best view for it, and I think Tim and Nick, they are both like really good drivers, and they're very aggressive, both of them, and they can really keep their position with no problem. So I would say it was a racing incident with no problem because both of them were really going for it, and there was nothing bad. And then I was just realizing I'm on the third place. I was like, yes, yes, yes. And in the like last 2 laps, I didn't have a DRS, and I was like, damn it, I just have to hold it.
You know, it is so refreshing to hear someone so excited about a podium for once. It's like we usually get people who are used to the feeling, used to, the idea of, I've been here before. It's great to hear how excited you are. We've been actually talking throughout the broadcast as well about how much you've improved throughout the season. Next up is Zandvoort. Is that a track that particularly suits your style?
Well, we'll see, because I think I'm like battling a lot and fighting with the setup right for this DTM, and just I think in the previous race I had very decent setup, and because of the restart of the race I have a very bad qualification, but the first time I have better qualification, so I could really attack the podium, and this time I couldn't find anything like how to set the car up, and I'm really struggling all season long in every game, not just race room. I'm just struggling with the setup, and I think it's really hard thing for me.
Well, if that's how fast you are struggling with the setup, then I'm sure that your rival is going to be absolutely terrified about what it'll be like if you do find the right setup. In any case, congratulations on your podium, Yaroslav. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you guys, hope to see you next time.
Indeed, same to you, and well, pretty much concludes affairs here at round 5 of the Mercedes AMG Motorsport e-racing competition. Rob, a fantastic round, Moscow Raceway, really giving us a lot of good close battles, a lot of excitement. I know we expected every round, but perhaps more than we were expecting. The top 5 really, all in with a chance of that win.
Yeah, I think it was a great race. And of course, we hope to see the same again at August 20th at Zandvoort for the next race of the Mercedes AMG Motorsport e-racing competition.
I guess all we have left to say is thank you very much, Rob, for having me once again. Thank you all for joining us as well. I hope this in some way encourages you to come back next time. Remember, 20th of August is Zandvoort, so a couple of weeks, give or take, almost a month, really. It's a long time to wait, but be assured it'll be worth the wait. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, it is a very warm goodbye.